been a godsend for me, and I think he's helped me evolve into the player and the leader, the person I always knew I could be.
John, what specifically has Pep helped you kind of expand?
I think he's helped me get my confidence back. I feel like I'm playing maybe the highest level I ever have right now. That's what it's going to take to lead this team to the things that we want to do this year. Really just helped me. The biggest thing I would say is we have a lot more responsibility with protection as quarterbacks this year. There was times last year where we didn't really know what was going on up front. And, I think a lot of times you'd see me scrambling, when I didn't need to, and that was, maybe my big flaw that everybody liked to point out last year. And, I've really found, confidence in just sitting in the pocket, in knowing what's going on up front.
What shook your confidence?
You go through some things, you get benched, you're at the top of the college football, landscape, you're getting talked about for Heisman Trophy and Davey O'Brien, and then a few weeks later you're benched, it's part of being human.
So it's dating all the way back to Houston, you feel like you're as confident as you've been since then?
Yeah, I felt at times like, I was a scapegoat at Houston, for a lot of things that were going on within the program, and, that'll shake an 18-year-old kid, and something you just got to go through and learn from to get to where you're at now.
When you got here, were you expecting that to flip right back?
No, it's a process. I think day by day from the moment I got here, it started out working with the scout team and, going against the Desmond Morgans and the Joe Boldens every single day, Jared Wilson, and, start making a few throws on those guys here and there, and, start to day by day get your confidence back. And then, last year, it was just the same thing, just building on it. Spring ball, Pep gets here. Same thing, just building more confidence, and I think it's taken a little longer than I would have liked. Obviously I would have liked to be there at this point last year, but everything has its course, and I couldn't be happy with the way things are right now.
You touched on the mental side of recognition. Is that where you've made your greatest strides, or do you see some other area where?
Yeah, I think that coupled with command, because of that I've been able to really take command and lead the guys and on and off the field, and that's where I feel the most comfortable right now.
Do you feel you're on track to start?
I'm ready if my number's called, and I'm sure Wilton will tell you the same thing. We've both been competing our butts off, Brandon too, and Dylan. Everybody's been competing really hard, and it's been a great camp. Offense has been looking really good, and we're going to be ready to roll right now. We're just focused on us. We haven't even looked at a single play of Florida yet. I know there's a lot of rumblings outside of our building about them, but we've been focused here on ourselves, and that's what it's going to take to win those 3 more games that we couldn't win last year.
When you're in a competition like this, what's it like within the room itself? How do you deal with the interpersonal relationships that way?
Yeah, I think last year it was the first time for both of us together, so there were honestly times where we maybe weren't completely honest with each other. We say we're the best of friends, but there was times last year where maybe that wasn't the case. But this year, I can honestly say, going through that last year, really, for me personally, I can't speak for Wilton, but having to swallow my pride and really support him and get behind him throughout the year, I think brought us a lot closer.
You're just past the halfway point in preseason camp. Where have you seen your most individual progress at this point?
I think last year we talked about, Coach talked a lot about eliminating the big mistake, and for all the quarterbacks. And right now it's almost as if like who's going to make a mistake? It's like we're all playing so well. We've really benefited so much from Pep being here, and he's really taken all of our games to the next level. They say a rising tide lifts all ships, and right now Pep has been that rising tide.
And how important is that relationship, to have a good working relationship with Pep?
Yeah, he came in spring ball and set the tone that he was going to be all business, and since then the trip to Rome really helped, where we've gotten a lot closer with him personally. But when we're in the meeting room or we're on the field, he's all business, and he set the tone from day one with that, and he's really helped us all improve a lot.
What does a confident John O'Corn look like as opposed to a non-confident?
I think you have to wait and see.
What did the Indiana start mean to you? Albeit played in snow and you had the big run in it, but what did that How did that help you going forward?
I don't know that it did, honestly.
Okay.
You know, more than anything, I would have liked to get a few throws back from that game. You know, I think, you know, watching somebody like Cardell Jones a few years ago go through a similar situation and come in and kind of take the reins and go on and win a national championship, I think maybe I pressed a little too much, tried to make the big play a little too much, you know, instead of just letting things come to me. But the one thing I was proud of is that, you know, I managed the game, didn't turn the ball over, and we won. You know, that's the most important thing.
Did you see that Indiana game as your Cardell Jones opening your window to get into this?
In the moment, I did, you know, and whether I blew it or not, you know, I have an opportunity again this year. So.
Did that add to your needing to rebuild your confidence, not getting the results you wanted that day?
No, I wouldn't say that.
John,
Which running backs have stood out so far?
You know, they all look good. You know, I'd say Ty Isaac is in the best shape I've seen him since I've been here. You know, Chris Evans is 100% himself. You know, he's a great playmaker. And then you have young guys like Amari and Kurt who are great athletes. You know, they're coming along with the playbook, and it's going to take some time. But and then there's guys like Karan Higdon who's got a burst like nobody's ever seen. So we're really confident. You know, whether it's you know, there's a workhorse like Davion last year, or if it's by committee, you know, we're happy with whatever happens, whatever the game plan is.
John, is it?
Summer away from here.
I was in New York for an internship with Rise, one of Stephen Ross's nonprofits.
How were the young receivers meshing with you guys?
Really well, you know, and they act the way that you want freshman receivers to. You know, they come in, and from the first day they were here, you know, talk about Donovan and Tariq first. You know, they got here in January, and they came in, and they were roommates, and they were inseparable, and they were always here at the facility, always working, and always quiet. You know, we had to beg them to talk. But, you know, that's what you want from a freshman. You want them to be seen and not heard, and, you know, they've been great. Guys like Oliver Martin, Nico Collins, the list goes on, just guys that have come in and really been working their butts off and working hard to learn the playbook. And I mean, all of them can play on the field. It's just a matter of who can pick up the playbook the fastest, who's going to get on the field.
John, would it be unfair, I guess, for us or anybody to gauge your potential more on what was seen in the Indiana game, or do you feel like you are, you know, closer to that American Conference Freshman of the Year?
I would say I'm neither of those. You know, I think I'm at a place where I've never been before, so I would say neither of those would be fair.
When you lost the job last year, did you ever consider going somewhere else this year?
Not in my mind at all. No.
Why not?
You know, a Michigan degree. I think everybody in here knows what that means, and you know, I would have to. You know, I'm still in an undergraduate school, so I would have to go to a 1AA or a D2 school. You know, and I really do love it here. You know, I couldn't be happier whether I'm on the sideline or on the field. You know, I really love it here, and you know, I recognize the potential that we have this season with this team and want to be a part of it. Couldn't miss that opportunity.
Has Jim said when he will tell you guys who's starting?
No.
John, I know probably starting would mean, it means a lot to everybody. What would it mean? I mean, given everything you talked about, the ups and downs to your career, I mean, would this be kind of a crowning moment of your career?
I think anybody who would win a starting quarterback job at Michigan would say that is the utmost honor. You know, Tom Brady came back and said that the greatest honor in his life was being named a captain here. You know, everything that happens here carries a lot of weight and means a lot to a lot of people. So, absolutely.
How much non-football life, I guess, if you can look down the road a little bit, how much non-football do you think this is going to help you with, just personal life?
Oh, I think it's huge, you know, especially with just the connections you make here. You know, there's a huge, you know, alumni, but the people that you meet here while you're in school, your classmates, you know, the relationships you build, those are going to be the people that go on to be the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and all those great things. So, you know, I think it's going to, you know, obviously carry a lot of weight.
Thoughts on how the offensive line is handling itself against that D-line?
I think they're doing really well. You know, I think they've, you know, benefited from Pep's addition as well. And, you know, Coach Revno's been doing a great job with them for 3 years now, you know, and they've been improving every year. They feel really good, really confident, and they're ready to go.
How long did it take for you to notice Pep's impact?
I think really until camp, honestly. You know, spring ball, there was, you know, it was only 15 practices, and I think we're getting close to that now in camp. But it was, you know, the long 4-hour practices, and it was almost more of a grind than camp is. You know, a lot of the guys disagree, but, you know, for some of us, you know, we think spring ball is harder than camp. So, yeah, I would say it honestly took me until maybe day 3 or 4 of training camp, you know. Once you have a chance to go through spring ball, go back, watch all that film, you know, study it. Where did I mess up? Where did I do well? And build off that on your own all summer. You know, you really see the benefit of adding a guy like that.
Do you remember what triggered you to like, oh wow, he's really making a difference?
Not specifically, no.
Was that when you felt like I've got it back, or was it before that?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You know, there's times in spring, you know, like in the spring game, I obviously didn't play till the end of the game very much. So, you know, that was like, you know, wondering if I'm going to get a chance or not, you know. And, you know, you just fight through that, you bury it, and just go out and play when your number's called.
Was it like a weight of the world off your shoulders, and now you feel free, or what?
No, you know, I think just like I said earlier, you know, you have some time to reflect on spring ball, and, you know, for me, this is my last go-around, like, regardless of what happens this year. So, you know, you always think that you worked as hard as you possibly could have until there's more work to be done. So, you know, I just reflecting this summer, reflecting after our Rome trip and after my internship in New York, you know, I was able to really build off of all of that stuff that we worked on in the spring.
The spring game a wake-up call or kind of a motivational thing in that sense then?
I mean, I felt good about how I played in the spring game. It was just, you know, it was what it was.
John, from quarterback standpoint, Mason center last year, then likely going against Patrick this year. How much of a difference is it? How much like adjustment, transition?
I mean, there's no transition at all. You know, that's what you want as a coach. You want, you know, if a guy goes down or if somebody has to be moved to another position, you want it to continue like there was no changes. You know, and that's exactly what's happened.
John, how has your relationship with Larry enriched you?
Oh wow, you know, I love that kid. And there's been times, you know, specifically, you know, he was going through a lot of stuff this summer, and he had a really tough time, you know, battling with a lot of things. And, you know, I would be in the middle of a workout, and, you know, it's a tough workout. You know, the coaches are kicking your ass, but, you know, the thought of a strong kid like that, you know, the strongest person I know, really, crosses your mind, and you're like, oh, I can't even complain, and you have to, you know, bite your tongue. And, you know, just getting to know him and, you know, seeing his joy every time he's in this building, or I go see him at his house or at Mott, you know, just brightens my day. You know, it's really appreciate, you know, all that Team Impact and Michigan have done to, you know, forge that relationship.
John, you've talked about like lifelong, along the same lines with Larry. I mean, did you expect to like have that kind of relationship? Obviously, you'll meet coaches and other people, you know, here at the university. But I mean, was this something that I guess you probably didn't see it coming, right?
I would say no, not here specifically. You know, I worked with Team Impact at Houston as well, and there was a kid who was 15 at the time named Jacoby Rogers, and, you know, I had a similar relationship with him. He was dealing with a lot of kidney issues and stuff like that. So, you know, I was familiar with Team Impact, didn't really expect to work with them again until I found out that Dan Kraft, whose daughter is in school here at Michigan, is actually like the founder of it. So, you know, it seemed like a no-brainer to work with them again since I had already, you know, worked with them in Houston.
Just quick, what did you do at Rise? I know it has a really positive message. Did you take anything from that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are aware that I did like the Martin Luther King Day event that the athletic department put on. The work I was doing in New York, I can't really talk about specifically, just because it's a project for back here that we're working on, and, you know, I'm sure you'll be hearing about it soon. That's really all I can say. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.